So with the objections that you've raised, 10 around them, you say that you've submitted evidence as well to the Commission. Those have not been upheld. Yesterday, when we spoke to the Commission, they said that whatever objections are outstanding, they believe that it's immaterial. And the Constitution or legislation does give him the powers to go ahead and declare the elections, even with some of the objections being outstanding, if they find that it's immaterial. Do you agree with that?
What formula do they use to decide whether it's immaterial or not?
Mm.
Well, how do they go about that? They need to tell us. They need to share, firstly, because as far as we're concerned, the veracity of those objections that we've raised are very serious. And we've taken the seriousness of that into consideration. They don't seem to.
So what do you think happened? What's the MK party's case? What happened here?
Look, this is what is happening here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, firstly, to have, and you've seen it with the DA having sent a letter to the US, Foreign Secretary, where they raised that, an MK, ANC, EFF alliance, in effect, or a coalition thereof, would be detrimental to their agenda. Now, why send an email to the US? The same company that was involved here is also US-based and owned by a certain country, citizens. Which
the auditors are saying that they could have been involved.
So the reality here is the following, is that this, what we know has happened when that system was down. Certain votes were allocated to a specific party to ensure that MK is not at least minimum the opposition, the official opposition. Because effectively what that means is that by those two, meaning the ANC, for instance, and an MK coalition, with MK being the official opposition, it's detrimental to a lot of people because we would nationalize the mines, would force a position where we nationalize the banks, would force a position where we implement free education, would force the implementation of all our policies. And that would be detrimental to the DA and their handlers.
Yeah. So the suspicion of this IT company being involved in this, on what basis do you make that claim?
The suspicion of what?
Of the IT company being involved in the so-called vote rigging.
What do you mean, to what basis? This is remember we requested the IEC via PIA Act, Promotion of Access to Information Act, that they share with us what process they went about appointing these companies. And you'll recall, even last year, the IEC was involved with appointing and signing up all sorts of agreements with IT companies in a form of US-based IT companies, Google included, for instance. And we needed to know why and how did they go about that? What formula did they use and why those specific companies?
Yep.
So the IEC needs to tell us still today, how did they go about appointing these companies that became involved? That's what we need to know. And what role were they appointing them to play? So
is it then the MK's case that there could have been foreign interference in our elections?
There is foreign interference in our elections.
There is?
There is foreign interference in our elections. We know. We've given them that.
Which country?
And that's the reality.
Do you know which country?
And the reality, the reason there's foreign interference, as I mentioned to you, is because we know that the agenda here is to get an ANC-DA alliance, and by virtue of that, get Steenhuisen as a deputy of this country, so that they can, at a later stage, through probably even getting a speaker of theirs, topple Cyril Ramaphosa and make Jens Steenhuisen the president of this country. That's the plan. It's very simple. And then in that case, then who's in control of our country.
Which country are you saying?
That will surface at a later stage.
That will surface at a later stage.